Welcome back to War Thunder and welcome aboard the American M4A1 in the French Tech Tree as the premium called the FL10. Battle rating 4.7, rank 3 premium. Is this tank good? Is it bad? How does it stack up against the AMX13 SS11? I will talk you through. This is not a tank review, but this is the very first battle that I played in it, and I played a few more battles since in it, and I come to the conclusion I like it. The gun is very good for 4.7. In fact, it feels more like a 5.3 cannon. It profits again from the AP buff, 168 millimeters of penetration, great post-penetration effect, one-shotting most of your enemies, combined with a little bit of armor. You know, it's another very strong turret, it's also not a very strong hull. Okayish mobility, it's not outstanding. You can somewhat fire on the move, but don't rely on it. And you have a 12-shot autoloader, 45-second reload for the entire clip, 5-second delay between the shots. Those are the basic stats. What else is to talk about? Well, 6 degrees of gun depression is okay-ish. In city fight, it's okay. Just 9 degrees of gun elevation is very bad for hilly terrain and whatnot. But you gain nearly 30 degrees of turret rotation speed, which is fantastic. Most of the tanks, most of the light tanks in War Thunder don't have this in the first place. Now, the clip, 12 rounds, that can actually help you through the entirety of a match in its entirety. The tank just shot the German Panzer IV F2, I guess, and he shot through a concrete wall. He couldn't properly aim. That reduced the penetration. He probably hit a very angled part. It doesn't matter. I go close, I see him fire, and I charge him down. I have enough time. Now here is the fun fact about the Panzer IV F2. On an ace crew with a fully trained crew, it has a reload of 5.9 seconds. You have 5 seconds regardless of your crew skills, and so you have nearly 1 second advantage in the worst possible scenario. The Panzer IV F2 has APHE. You don't, but the solid shot with this buff is just extremely powerful. I have to say it. It's baffling how strong it is. I've played the AMX13 SS11 also quite a bit. I love to play both vehicles, but ultimately, and this is my final verdict, I will take the AMX13 SS11 over the M4A1 FL10. Now, why is that? Well, it's a bit more grindy reasons, I guess. Both tanks are good in their own manner, and before I come to the reasons, I understand why so many people would take the Sherman over the MX13. Because it's a straightforward tank. You have a bit of armor, you have a bit of mobility, or decent amounts of mobility, you have a very powerful gun, you just one-shot your enemies, you just can go around the battlefield, and you are within the realms of your normal average tank that you are kind of used to. And the AMX13 as a light tank, it's very unforgiving, it's vulnerable to air attacks. It gets one shot by AAAs, the ATGMs can explode, the gun is not capable of dealing with many enemies from the front. You just have to use the ATGMs, of which you just have 4. But then again, when I play it, I don't go for the frontal engagements. I try to flank the enemy, I try to spot him with the new spotting mechanics. I might do a video on this to explain it in full detail, because I think it's fantastic and people should use it. So there is that. And then with the ATGMs you have to stand still, you have to manually aim them. Many people are not very comfortable with this, so the AMX13 is not for everybody, but those who are embracing the light tank meta actually love it, and I'm one of them. Yes, it's not an Object Nano 6 with a stabilizer and so forth, but you can make it work, and the income at the end of the battle is just significantly higher with the MX13, which helps a lot in grinding, and you can also research effectively tier 5, which you cannot with the tier 3 premium tank that is the Sherman FL10. Because you get a research point penalty, and this just lengthens the grind. And yeah, there is a price difference, I agree, but what? Then you have to research tier 5 without a premium tank. Do you place a talisman on a tier 4 or one of the research tier 5 vehicles? Maybe, that's a possibility. You can kind of get it through the price difference. But I have to say, the AMX-13 currently is fantastic, and so is this tank. And as you can see, I killed a lot of enemy targets so far, and I will capture some more points. The majority of damage is done. It's a good battle. I just was shot once, and you get those huge spalling effect. And let me just point out how huge the spalling effect is. You mostly need just one shot from the rear and from the front in particular, but with side shots, if you're lucky, you can one-shot the enemy, and you need at most 2 shots if you have any decent aim. So one clip of 12 rounds is actually pretty nice, I have to say. So here is another SPAA. Would be kind of a problem in the MX-13, but I am much more safe against those SPAs, even if they shoot me with the FL10. So this tank is definitely not overpowered. You can kill it, but it has mobility, decent mobility, great firepower. It's more a bit of a glass cannon. 8 kills with a single clip. I still have 2 rounds left, and this is now the problematic situation. If I wouldn't be on the front line, and if A would not have been decaptured by the enemy, and I have to investigate it rather soon than late, I would fire off those 2 shots and force the reload of 45 seconds, which again, it doesn't matter if I have an ace crew or a stock crew, it would be 45 seconds. Again, for the delay between the shots on the autoloader, it's also 5 seconds, regardless if it is an ace crew or a complete stock crew. So I guess this is the benefit of the French, and it's quite nice. It's noob friendly, it's grind friendly, it's beginner friendly. When you have not acquired enough points by flying the aircraft for your tank crews, it's definitely something good. Again, I am playing here with an expert crew, not an ace crew. This is how I do it, to get as close as possible to the average player, so to speak. But then again, I invested gold for my crews to upgrade them, which is the best investment of gold that you can do, in my opinion, or one of the best investments, because you will have it forever. And 1,000 gold needles per crew is already good enough, and the maximum that makes somewhat sense is 3,000 gold per crew. I just drove through the capture zone to begin the decap, to stop the ticket bleed, to hunt down the one tank that actually has captured it, because it was not spotted and it was not killed yet. And I'm alone here, so I want to hunt him down. With staying in the capture zone, I would make myself a sitting duck, and the enemy would know where I am, or roughly know where I am, and attack me, probably in a preferable situation for him, whereas I have to guess where the enemy is coming from. So at this point in time, I stopped to listen if I hear an engine, and I did not see the plinging on the minimap. So one of my team members is now close to the spawn. My auto squad guy is still kind of securing the flank. Now I see the dot, and this is now no longer necessary to reverse to turn around. I have to go through the middle of the map. At this point in time, I have killed so many enemies, the rest of my team have killed so many enemies. I can take that risk. It's a calculated risk. Last famous words most of the time, but in this case it paid off, and I go for a very sneaky second capture. May I just get in? May I? Yeah, I just got like not much out of it, but better than nothing. Capture streak 2, it's important for spawn points if you use them with the aircraft and other tanks. I made a lot of spawn points so far, over 2,000, which is quite a lot. So that grants you at least an aircraft and a tank. At least, if you play correctly. So yeah, I like this tank. And it is 2.0 battle rating lower than the MX-13. And it's straightforward. You can defeat any tank from the front that you come across and mostly one-shot them. Even a fully up tier angled tiger, no problem. Just shoot through the angled front and you do massive damage. If you fire a spec though, you're dead. Your armor doesn't hold up. So let's be clear about this. It's a fine tank. I can recommend it for the average player. But the player that wants a bit more challenge, that wants to abuse the new maps like Maginot Line, which is a good tank map, not so much for this tank though, because of the limited speed, especially in comparison to the MX-13 SS11, but also the income is different. And while you do a decent amount of income with this tank, you do significantly more with the AMX-13. So if you compare the incomes of one of the games that I had in the AMX-13 SS11 with 3 full capture zones, with 5 kills and winning the map without any big boosters, I got over 100,000 silver lines and what was it, 12,000 vehicle research points. We will see how it goes with these tanks. So let's just go into the capture zone for the 3rd capture zone joined with this other FL10 and just wait it out. So yeah, that is everything that you need to know about this tank, I guess. I might do a tank review if you guys ask nicely and you insist on having a tank review and you're not quite sure if you have all the stats necessary that would justify buying of the package. I think it's worth the money. I think it's good. It's a straightforward tank with advantages in terms of reload, with penetration power, and with post-penetration effect. It profits from the buff. You have a little bit of armor to be mostly SPAA safe, unlike the MX-13 SS11, which is the obvious other choice, and it gets the results. But the income is not as good. You cannot effectively research tier 5 vehicles with it, so those are the advantages of the MX-13 SS11. And against certain cannons, it doesn't matter that you have armor at all. For example, the Dicker Max. Does it really matter in which tank you are when you end up in front of this tank? And yeah, I had absolutely no chance to see him. I was going to their spawn because it was endgame scenario. So yeah, that's the result. So let's have a quick look at the post-battle results. Here I get 2 nice backups. And for my 8 kills and 3 capture zones, granted that 2 of the capture zones were not fully kept by me alone, I got 73,000 silver lines and 9,159 research points. That's a good result, but it's around about 20-25% lower than the income on the MX-13 SS11, and I can also research higher tier vehicles. And currently with the MX-13 SS11 I also can research even tier 1 and 2 vehicles without any penalty. That's the current state. But normally with a tier 3 vehicle, premium vehicle that is, you should not be able to research tier 5 vehicles without a penalty. That is what I know. Currently I have no chance to prove it because I'm stuck in tier 4 grind, which kind of takes a while. So that's it for me today. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed the video. Give it a like if you did, subscribe if you want to see more, and we'll see each other on the battlefields of War Thunder.